Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everyone. This is Harold Green of Bright Tree Wealth Management. And once again, and always, it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hopefully you're having a great day, doing pretty good. It's, normally when I do these shows, it's kind of early in the morning, after I've gotten up and I've had a chance to read my Bible, drink some coffee and pray a little bit and just kind of go through my sheet of positive confessions and things like that. And, this morning I was going to do my routine a little bit different, but something spoke up to me and said, do your routine how you normally do your routine. Don't change anything. If you do, it might get a little weird on you this morning. So just go ahead and do it how you normally do it. And it got me to thinking a little bit. And it got me to thinking about, I don't even know why I started thinking about this stuff. But I've had a number of different client events over the years. And I have pictures of myself giving speeches and things like that. And I look back on what I look like then and what I look like now, and I don't look like the same person. I've lost a lot of weight through a lot of different things I've gone through, different challenges and things like that. But the most important thing I did is I hired a coach. And, I don't even know if I told you guys a story or not, but I used to work out at 24 Hour Fitness. And one of the trainers there, he was working with this guy, and this guy passed away. And he had bought this big package, right? He was going to live a long time and, get his training done. And what the trainer did was he said, this guy passed away and he has all these sessions left. And I want to give them to you. Man, I think I was like 300 something pounds. Like I was huge. I was like really, really, really overweight. And it was kind of crazy. And I started training with him. And he went to another gym and then he didn't own that gym. And so basically what had happened was he finally quit that gym and he started his own. Because I told him, I said, man, you're one of the best trainers I ever worked with. You know your stuff. You're good at what you do. And once this package thing ran out with him at 24, I signed up for some other things. And then he started his own gym and it was off to the races then. 2015, I can't even remember if it was 2015 or 2013. It was probably 2015. He had got me in such great shape that one of the photos that you guys saw, it's like one of the photos that I took when I was working with him. And he just got me right. And I just kept working. And finally, when I moved out here to Vegas, I had stopped doing sessions with him and then I started doing my own thing. But this show that I'm talking to you about is about the way out to financial stability. And the same things that I'm saying here in this show can be the way out to good health, the way out to a healthy marriage. There's a process to the way out of anything that you're in to where you really want to be. You just have to follow the process and you got to be patient. So I want to wrap this all up today. The way out to financial stability. It's going to be, it's part 6. It's the last show. And today we're going to put it all together. All right. So you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. If you've been listening to this show, you already know more than most people do. You already know that stability isn't what it looks like. You understand that things, they might feel fine until guess what? You get punched in the face. You get tested. And then you're down there on the floor and everybody's saying, get up, get up. You understand that that structure matters more than growth alone. And you understand what it actually feels like and when things are set up the right way. And so now the question becomes, what do you actually do with that? Because understanding it doesn't change anything by itself. We all know the right thing to do, but sometimes we don't do it. And this is where most people get stuck. They listen. Yeah, I'm Harold. Man, that sounds great. They nod their heads. Man, yeah, this is good. Now let's do it. They agree. Yeah, boom. Yeah. And then they go right back to doing the same thing they've been doing. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to translate this into real life, IRL. Let's slow this down a little bit, all right? Let me take you out of podcast mode for just a hot minute, and just talk to you like I would if you were like sitting across the table from me, like we sitting down having coffee or something, all right? Because this is where it's going to get real. Now, if you came into my office and we're having this conversation, I wouldn't start by talking about investments. I never do. I wouldn't start by talking about returns. I don't do that. I wouldn't start by talking about products. I don't get down like that. I'd start by understanding how your life actually works. What makes you guys tick? And this is where it gets uncomfortable because when I would have these meetings, I would start off by saying, I'm going to let you guys know something right now. Please forgive me in advance. Every question I ask you today serves a purpose. It's not to belittle you or make you feel bad about where you are, but I want to get down to the root of why you actually here. What's been going on in your life that got you here? Because if I can understand what got you here, I can understand what we need to do to get you there. Okay. Where does your money come from? All of it. Not some of it, all of it. This is another thing with people. Sometimes they come on board and they like half foot in, half foot out. They not all in. And this is why it really never works out fully the way the system is supposed to work, because they're not all in. I did a show about that. I'm going to go do another show about that. It's probably a series about either you're all in or you're all out. And I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, but I'm going to take some trips here and kind of cool my head and think about where we're going and what the firm is going to look like 5-10 years down the road. And then I'm going to start my messaging to align with that vision. Where does your money come from? All of it. One client came in and I known him for years. And then it's like, they got all this money accumulating. I'm like, where's this money coming from? And she said, it's coming from the sky. I said, no such thing. You ain't got no money rain cloud. Nobody do. And then she told me, and then it made sense. Where does it go? What are you relying on? What would happen if something changed? Because until we understand that, nothing else matters. Okay. We're going to go through this step by step. So step one, you have to see your situation clearly. All right. You got to know where you are on the radar, not what you hope it is, not what it looks like on paper, how it actually functions. Because most people, they don't see it clearly. They see pieces of it. They see accounts. They got balances. They got statements everywhere. They don't see the system. And without seeing the system, you can't fix the system. It's like imagine your car not running right and you take it to the mechanic and they can't open the hood. You're going to be Ubering it. I'm going to give you an example. All right. Somebody comes in, they got money in a 401k, they got some money in savings, they got some investments here and there. And on the surface, everything looks okay. But when you dig deeper, everything is disconnected. It's disconnected. There's no coordination between the assets at all. And I used to draw this little schematic where I would show them how their assets are all bifurcated. Like, this is over here for this. This is over here for that. I'm not touching this for that. This is this. I'm not touching my home equity for anything. I'm not paying for college from home equity. I'm not buying cars. I'm paying my house off. And this is that. It's all compartmentalized. And because everything was compartmentalized, it was taking them a lot longer to get to where they really wanted to be, because they had these single vision systems, one for this and one for that, and everything. It wasn't networked together. There's no coordination. So therefore, there was really, I wouldn't say there was no clear purpose. It was just that they had a purpose for what each thing was going to do, but it wasn't realistic. All right. So therefore, you really have no structure. So what happens? Every decision becomes a question at that point. Should I do this? Should I move this? Am I okay if I did that? Constant questioning all the time. Constant questioning, right? That low hum, just that little devil sitting there on your shoulder, poking this little pitchfork in your brain, constantly bugging you. That's the signal right there. Now, let's talk about step two. You're going to have a shift in your action. All right. So once you see this thing clearly, now you can start changing it. All right. Like, for example, you and your wife, you guys spend money separately and you got a credit card. She got a credit card. You guys don't know what's going on. And you're wondering why, like at the end of the month, you're negative or whatnot, because you don't know what's going on. You don't talk to each other. Okay. And this is where people expect something complicated, but it's not. It's actually very simple. It ain't easy, but it's simple. You're going to have to start building your financial life so it doesn't rely on everything being perfect and going right. You're going to have to build it so it doesn't matter who the cotton picking president of the United States is. I'm sick of hearing that. If so-and-so would have got elected, our life would have been much better. This guy got elected, da-da-da-da. I'm tired of hearing it. It has nothing to do with it. It's about your structure and how your system is built. That's it. Not like, oh, my mom and dad, they passed away, but my brother got the inheritance and not me. Now I'm pissed off. Now I'm mad. I thought this was going to happen. I thought that was going to happen. We take that out. That's it. That's the goal. I'm going to say this again. You build your life, your financial life, so it doesn't rely on everything going right. Because right now, for most people, that's exactly what's happening. And that's why it feels so fragile. That's why everybody's so on edge. That's why everybody's like so unnerved. You can just feel it in the air, the stress or whatnot. And I'm going to tell you something. My wife came to me the other day and she said, I know we're going back to Hawaii on such and such date, but I feel like I don't have enough time to do all the things I need to do before my appointments and things like that. So I want a few more extra days to do that. Okay. So she said, can you change the ticket? And I said, this late? I mean, we flying out like next week. She said, yeah, see if you can change the ticket. I was like, all right. So I go in the app and get online, start looking for different tickets. And to my amazement, first class was freaking like half empty. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I used our e-credits that we had from some previous flight changes or whatnot, but still to change our trip to move it up to 2 days sooner was the price almost of another like whole ticket for somebody. And I showed her, I said, hey, this is what it's going to cost. Cause she's the accounting person, right? So she always wants to know what things cost all the time. So I said, this is what the price is. She's like, what? I said, yeah, fuel prices change. I said, when I bought these tickets months ago, I mean, gas is $60 some a barrel. Now it's like almost 100. And she's like, that much? And she just looked at me. I said, do you want to do it or not? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I said, boom, done. Right? No problem. It didn't stress me out at all. And this is what this thing is going to start to feel like. You're going to be able to do things and it's not going to be an issue. So here's what this thing looks like in real life. All right. You're going to start asking yourself some very different questions. Not how do I grow this faster, but how do I remove pressure from my life? This is what we're talking about, the pressure. Okay. How do I make sure I'm not forced into decisions? Pressure. How do I create space? Like pressure. You ever like sat on a plane between two like really big people, man, and they sitting there, the armrest, their arm is in your lap, the other guy's arm is in your lap because they just so big, and that pressure you feel right there, you ain't got no space. You can't even breathe. This is what it feels like. And once you create space, everything else gets a little easier. Another word for space is margin. We're not running on the edge like a razor blade. We got margin, we got space. Because this is where people complicate it. They think this requires constant trading, complex strategies, timing the market, chasing returns. It does not. In fact, those things usually make it worse. All right. Because you're doing stuff at the wrong time, right? You adding pressure when there is supposed to be no pressure. And they just end up adding more pressure. And I tell my clients like this. Some of them who call me when they're stressed out, I'll say, Uncle Jimmy, I know this is bothering you and the things don't look good right now. But if I'm the one managing it, don't you think I feel the same way? I have my structure and I have my strategy in place and it's working, but to see it work, I still have the same feelings sometimes that regular people do. Like, how can this be happening? What the hell is wrong with these people? Are they stupid? Why are they trading the market like this? Why are they driving this up? Why are they crashing this down? I still have those questions, but I just simply ask myself that. And I kind of know what's going on for the most part. Like, I would hope I know what's going on because this is my job. And I tell them, don't give me any more pressure. Like, I don't need your pressure. Okay. Because if I start trading based on how you feel, I'm not doing my job. I'm making my situation worse. So keep the pressure over there. As a matter of fact, go open up that little inner tube thing, take the cap off, let the air out. We don't need the pressure. Okay. When you add more pressure, you add more decisions, you add more uncertainty. Now we don't know when the portfolio is going to recover because you made some bad choices. It was 6 to 18 months. Now, because you did what you did, we don't know if it could be 5 years, it could be 4 years. Now we have to do something else. We have to make some more transactions. We got to do something different because you added pressure. All right. So I want to bring this back to control, because at the end of the day, this entire series comes down to one thing, and that's control. Not controlling the market. You have no control over the market at all. And I was doing a meeting yesterday with, I call her Auntie Donna. She's one of my favorite clients and stuff. And she said, Harold, thank you for taking me on. I know I didn't have what you needed me to have when I came on board, but I'm just so grateful to you for where it is. And I constantly pray for you. I pray for you every day. I pray for the Lord to give you wisdom to be able to do this, because I know you can't control the market. And I said, no, I can't control the market. I can't control the outcome, but I can control the input. Okay. Anytime you're dealing with a system, your main responsibility is the input. If you're flying a plane, the input. What are you inputting into that system? Are you pulling back? Are you pushing the throttle? What are you doing? Okay, it's the input that controls the outcome. Everything else, the law of aerodynamics, all of that good stuff, it does its thing. Same thing with the market, the law of whatever, right? It does its thing. People, fundamentals or whatever, technical analysis, all that stuff, it will do what it does. Okay, the only thing you can control is your input. And if you do the right inputs, no matter what they do in the middle, you should expect an outcome. There's no guarantees, but there's just a process. Okay. Can't control the economy either, but controlling your position. All right. Where are you? Because when your position is strong, you don't need to react. You don't need to guess, and you don't need to hope. Okay. Because as they say, hope is not a strategy. It's part of the process, but it's not the strategy. And let me give you the real difference here. We got two people, same income, same opportunity. Okay. One feels stuck. The other feels in control. Why? One built the system, and the other just has accumulated pieces. They got a couple of houses over there, some rentals here, and they got some gold over here. They got some Bitcoin over here. They got some cars. They got some watches. Yeah, they got some stuff. That's the difference. It's not in the system, just stuff. Now, I want to take a minute and make this personal, and I'm going to apologize in advance. So if I offend you, please forgive me. So I want you to do something after this episode. Not tomorrow, not next week, but as they say, like right now. I want you to sit down and I want you to map out your financial life. Not in detail, just at a high level. Okay, where does your money come from? My job. Okay, where does my money go? What am I spending on? My stuff. What are you relying on? What is your faith in? That's the real question. Where's your faith? What do you have faith in? What are you putting your trust in? And I was talking to a friend the other day. He said, Harold, we're on these trips, China, wherever. And I couldn't really get the information that, I wanted to see what was going on. But he said, I really didn't care because I have faith in what we are doing. And I've gotten results with you. When things were great, I got results. When things are bad, I've been there. And he said, I have faith in the Lord that things are going to work out the way they need to. Now, we have a system in place, okay? But we also have faith that we did implement the right system. Faith without works is dead. You can't just have faith without doing anything. God is not just going to show up and write you a check and put it in your bank account. You got stuff that you need to do. There's input on your behalf. Because what would happen if something changed? Okay? The thing that you was believing in, all of a sudden it's gone. And if you can't answer those questions clearly, that's your starting point. Not a product. Hey, I got this great new policy here. I got this great new annuity. I got this great new thing that's going to protect you from the ups and downs of the market. It's going to do this, going to do that. Not an investment, but clarity. Because this is where everything shifts. Because once you see it clearly, you can start fixing it. Once you can open up the hood, you can start to fix it. You can start to restructure it. You can start building it the right way. And over time, guess what? You move from reacting to adjusting. Real nice. From pressure to some margin, some space. We can afford this. Yeah, this thing is going to cost us a little bit more, but we got the money over here. We planned for that. We built this thing for that. You go from uncertainty to a level of control. And in closing, here's what I want to talk about. That's the way out. It's not a shortcut. It's not a life hack. It's not a quick win or anything like that. It's just a simple shift. We got to shift in how you think. And in golf, there's something called the pressure shift. You transfer your weight from your left side to your right side, back to your left side, and come through and hit the ball. Okay. And what my coach was teaching me is the pressure shift happens before you even move the club back. Before you even take that club away, you should be going from your left to your right, and then you move the club. On the way back in your backswing, you shift your weight from your right foot to your left foot while the club is still moving back. And then when you're on your left side, you you shift your body, bring the club down, and follow through. Boom. It's a shift in how you think, okay? And how you build, and in how your financial life actually functions, to be honest with you. And if you've been with me through this entire series, you already know what needs to change, okay? Now it's just a matter of whether, are you going to do something about it? Are you going to do something about it? I'm going to tell you a story in the Bible about the lepers, right? The lepers that were, if you had leprosy back then, Bible days, you go into the city, they're going to stone you. And they were sitting out there outside the gate. And they said, if we sit out here, we're going to die. If we go into the city, they're going to kill us. And because either way, we're dead. But he said, why must we sit here till we die? And if you read the story, you'll see that they were miraculously healed. They didn't die. They lived. You have the same opportunities to make changes in your system so that it's not just pieces of things here and there. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's why people do that. They do it because there's one word, diversification. Diversification has been one of the most misunderstood words in the English vernacular. Diversification. Diversification from what? Diversification, why? Well, because you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Well, what if you have a very strong basket that's ironclad? What if you have a system that if you have better input and more input, you get better outcome? No one is ever teaching that because they all think that if you have your stuff in one system, it could break and then you're in trouble and you're going to lose everything. That's the problem. And that's why 97% of the people in this country will not be able to retire with enough to live on that will last them their entire lives because they have no system or their system is broke or whichever way it is. All right. So thank you for tuning into this show. If you want us to take a look under your hood to see what's in it, schedule a quick phone call, talk to me real quick. I will tell you this, by the time you hear the show, my minimum may be $1 million. All right. Because we're having to change our strategy. We're having to change the type of clients we take on board just because of how things are going right now. Okay. And so thank you very much for tuning in to the show. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is the podcastfactory.com.